What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live here on a Thursday. The Blazers are off today. They'll play tomorrow against the Dallas Mavericks. We'll have the post-game show for that as always. Today, we are going to discuss something we didn't get to on the post-game show last night, which was Justise Winslow's minutes in the first half. But before we get into that, let me thank the sponsor of this stream, Bet Online. You can use promo code BELIEVE to receive 50% rewards, but we're switching it up today. We're not doing picks against the spread at the start of the stream. We're doing it at the end of the stream. The first game tips off at 5 p.m., so we're just going to wait till the end. The injuries will be more current. And as always, BetOnline will provide the spreads for those games. We'll be picking based on that. So if you want to get in on any of the spreads, any of the action that you'll see later on in this stream, head over to BetOnline and use promo code BELIEVE to receive 50% rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. Eric, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
It's going good, man. It's a little weird to jump into the stream without picks against the spread. But yeah, we're going to actually have the conversation topics first, and then we're going to end things off with a bang. Shout out Brian Tadovich with the $5 dono. Says dono because Eric got a cut.
Eric did not get a cut. Sorry to disappoint you. I just forgot my hat downstairs and didn't want to go get it before the stream started.
Well, now Brian's going to call up his bank and have them cancel that transaction because you lied to him. I'm just kidding. Thank you, Brian, for the $5 dono.
Still looking fresh, though, even though it's been like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I need a cut very, very badly. But I don't know. It's December, so I'm kind of, just wild with it. I don't care. I'll just rock the hat, and it'll curl a little bit, and I call it good. And then there's always, one asshole every stream that comes in like, Tori, you need a haircut. And, that always makes me feel great about myself. Anyway, Eric, so we had a post-game stream last night. It was fun. We talked some trade stuff. So if you want any of that talk, go check out the stream from yesterday over on the main channel if you missed it. It was near the end of the stream. We're probably not going to get too much into that today. I don't know. You can take this wherever you want to, Eric, but I figured we just talk about Justise Winslow and then a couple other smaller things. Maybe some general NBA stuff, because we used to talk more about just kind of the NBA in general on this channel, and now we've kind of strayed from that. So we'll just see where this takes us. We never really have a plan for Blazers Uprise Live beyond one or two conversation topics. It's just nice to be able to hang out with you guys and kind of have a more laid-back stream than post-game shows are.
Yeah, the main news today that affects the Blazers, I think we should start with that, is Steph Curry. Initially, they said he was going to be reevaluated in a few weeks, and now they're saying he's going to have surgery and is out at least a month. So, since we
Did they say he's going to have surgery? I thought he wasn't going to have surgery.
Yeah, that's what they said initially, but now they're saying he is going to have surgery and is out at least a month, which means when we play them on December 30th, he for sure will not be there.
Yeah, so that's a game that the Blazers should win. That's a game in San Francisco at Golden State. And, so that Blazers versus Warriors for the first time this year won't feature him.
Man, Robbie is the first person to guess the correct player I was talking about last night. Good job, Robbie.
Good job, Robbie. Yeah. 50% three-point shooter. Anyway, it's funny seeing everybody guess, hearing everybody guess. I gave out what I thought were some good guesses, but still no idea. It always drives me crazy when you say that that I would be surprised at who it would be, because then all my logical thinking trade-wise goes out the window. Like, I always try and think about trade targets and trade stuff logically. So when you say it would surprise me, I just, I don't know. I don't know how to think about anything anymore.
Yeah, sorry.
So thank you for that. But yeah, last night's stream was a good one at the end, talking about some trade stuff that Eric, can't tell. So we were just out there guessing. It was a lot of fun, but also miserable at the same time. Anyway, Eric, other than Justise Winslow, what else do you want to talk about today?
I also want to talk about something that Lamar Hurd said in regards to a defensive possession where Eubanks went for a block shot. I thought it was very interesting. So I definitely want to touch on that today.
Yeah, chat. Other than those two things, is there anything else you want us to cover before we get into picks against the spread at the end of the stream? Because we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Justice Winslow, and we can talk about anything else. So if you guys got any questions or any topics you want us to talk about, let us know in the live chat. But let's start off with Justice Winslow. So I forgot to get to this on last night's post-game show, but he barely played in the first half. You said he played 4 minutes, correct?
Yeah, he came in, they subbed Sharp, Eubanks, and Watford came in as the first, like, I guess technically power forward or whatever off the bench. So it's interesting that Watford's played before him. And then he came in. It was like a minute something left in the first quarter, and then he left the game with 9 something left in the second quarter. And I don't think he came back in the half because I think we rode the starters most of the rest of the second quarter. So yeah. And they showed him for a long stretch on the bench because they were talking about him after he got subbed out. And I wouldn't say he looked like unhappy, but he looked like very, like he was thinking about how he only played 4 minutes.
Yeah. Is this something or nothing?
I would say it was something if he didn't seem so jovial after the game. You know, he had that interview where he butts in with Josh Hart and Brooke Olzendam, and they seemed fine. And yeah, he seemed fine after the game, but I don't know. Something to me, I think it just seemed like he wasn't too happy on the bench.
Yeah, we've talked about doing this for Shaden Sharp, potentially, or other guys, just giving them some rest, just to, like, in a game like this, you're playing against San Antonio Spurs, taking care of business early. This could be something as simple as, okay, they wanted to give him a little bit of rest because he's played a lot of minutes this year, and he has been supposedly dealing with a couple injuries, but he always kind of is. He's an injury-prone guy. So it could be that. Or it could be, I don't know, he hasn't played as well as I think some people believe he has, but I haven't been as high on Justice Winslow as other Blazer fans are, so that could just be my own opinion there. But I thought without him in the lineup, that bench unit, with a couple starters sprinkled into it, I thought they looked more cohesive offensively. Like, the paint was less packed, the ball movement was good. Like, I don't think they missed his presence during that stretch, and then he subs in, and I don't think necessarily he was at fault, but the Blazers did go on a little bit of an offensive lull when he subbed into the game there late in the first, early in the second. So, I don't know. Maybe the Blazers are trying to get a look at different lineups. Maybe it's a situation where in the worst case scenario for him, they're souring on him. I don't know. I don't think that's the case, though. This organization has spoken very, very highly of him. It was just interesting because it was something that was completely unexpected for me, and I think that's something to look for in the next game, and if it continues to happen, then you have to have a conversation about, okay, maybe this organization is souring on him or thinks, he doesn't deserve the minutes he's been playing, or I don't know. Then we can start having all those speculative conversations at that point.
Yeah. And he ended up playing about 16 minutes because he came in and then stayed in even in garbage time at the end of the game. So he got a few extra minutes there. But yeah, it would have been like 12 or 13 if he hadn't had that happen. So what I think it is the offense with the Eubanks, Winslow, Watford lineups are awful.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So I think Chauncey's got to find a way to not put those. I mean, we went through this a few years ago with Cantor and Mello, right? Like, how long is it going to take for coach to realize that Cantor and Mello should not sub in the game and sub out of the game at the same time? Like, stagger them somehow, like, split them up a little bit and move them around. Yeah, so if Chauncey can figure that out, that those lineups just aren't working, I think that would be beneficial. The interesting thing is if Watford wins out over Winslow. I don't know if that's because they have a lot of confidence in Watford, or if they're, like you said, possibly not happy with some of the things Winslow's doing. It could be a little of both, or it could just be, some games they're going to try someone in the first half, and if they do well, they'll keep that same rotation for the next game or the next half or whatever. And then if that doesn't go well, maybe Winslow gets the first crack at it in the second half or whatever.
Yeah. His defense hasn't been good lately on the perimeter. He's a guy that can guard bigger players on the inside because he's strong, but he's gotten cooked on the perimeter the past month or so. And he was good to start the season defensively, I thought, but part of the Blazers' defensive fall off, the Blazers started the season good defensively and then kind of fell off. I think part of that fall off has to do with Justise Winslow. His defense has fallen off. So, as I've said before, if he's not providing you positive defense, he's not worth playing, because offensively, yes, he can pass, yes, he's a glue guy, but he doesn't play well off the ball, he doesn't space the floor, he doesn't make shots at a high enough clip. So it'll be interesting to see which way this goes, but Watford and him are kind of the same guy in a way, but honestly, I think Watford's been doing a better job when he's not completely falling asleep like you had a breakdown for last night. Mm-hmm. When he's focused, I think Watford's been doing a better job containing dribble penetration, especially against guards. Like, he's been moving his feet better than Winslow, in my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see which way they go with that. But the bench has been awful, Eric. The Luxury Tax, who's a guy in our Twitter group chat, had something earlier today, and I asked for the receipt because I wanted to see the stat, and I didn't get it. But he said, our starting lineup is 7th ranked defensively. Our bench lineup is last ranked defensively. Now, I don't know how he divvies it up between, 2 starters and 3 bench players or whatnot. I don't know if you have any extra insight on that, but regardless, our bench lineup's been awful offensively, and you could probably make the case, and there might be a stat out there that backs up them being worse defensively as well, which is just frustrating. Like, this bench lineup needs to be better. If this bench lineup was better, we're probably talking about this team being a true contender. So I don't know if Chauncey's going to start experimenting with things, or maybe they go out and make a trade. Obviously, Gary Payton II coming back would help, but the longer the bench continues to struggle, the closer I'm getting to saying we just need to completely overhaul the bench lineup outside of, like, Sharp and GP2.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad idea. It's like, oh, man, one of the big things in that is, the elite rim protecting center in the second unit isn't as good as the non-rim protecting center in the starting lineup, too. Is that what you're trying to say?
Sorry, I just read somebody saying my beard was scrappy AF.
Oh.
Sorry, that distracted me. What'd you say?
I said, it's kind of confusing how we have an elite rim protecting backup center and a non-rim protecting starting center, yet the defense is better with the first.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a lot. This can be your segue, Eric.
So on the broadcast last night, there was a play where Eubanks chased the block, and there was no way he was going to get there in time. And he, of course, didn't block the shot, and it led to an easy basket. I forgot who the center, if that was Jang or Bassi at the time, but it led to a wide open lay-in or dunk because he was out of position, and Lamar Hurd specifically said Chauncey does not want Eubanks doing that. And he's been talking to Eubanks about not getting caught out of position like that, chasing blocks, and how it's leading to open shots, and he's getting out of position way too often. So that's we have long suspected that on this show so far, that a lot of Eubanks blocks and stuff are, I mean, people see he blocks shots or whatever, but that he's getting out of position. We've set it up or explained that several times to people who try to tell us that Eubanks is better defending the rim or whatever than Nurkic. And so it was just good to actually hear Lamar say that Chauncey doesn't, or he sees what Eubanks is doing and recognizes that that's not the way he wants to play, or that's not helping our defense get better.
Yeah, but he blocks a couple of shots per game. That's elite rim protection, right? We've had numerous conversations. Hopefully they've been enlightening for some of you, just about how overrated blocks can be and guys that chase blocks in terms of their rim protection. Defense is far more than that. You're talking about the best shot blockers get 2.5 blocks per game in 30 minutes. Well, we're talking about how many defensive possessions are they playing in a game? Like 50? So we're talking about the difference of maybe a block between a guy getting 2 blocks a game and only 1, which would be like a really good rim protector versus a mid rim protector for a center, right? Like 1 possession out of 50 is the difference defensively, right? That's the problem with using blocks to base your opinions on rim protection and defense. When guys chase blocks, they end up out of position. Sure, they might get an extra 1 or 2, but the other 50 possessions, they are, chasing a block that's not there and then giving up offensive rebounds because they're completely out of position and not boxing out or fouling or, causing issues instead of just being solid. So that's why I like Nurk over Eubanks defensively, is because overall he's solid, and statistically I think it can be backed up. Rahi in chat, Eric says, our starting lineup has a defensive rating of 111.1, which would be 8th in the league. If you say what you consider the main bench lineup, I can probably find the defensive rating. So we should do that, and then, Rahi, thank you for the stat. But our starting lineup has a defensive rating of 111. That's against a hard schedule, Eric, and that's against other starters. Like, they're playing other starters more so than bench lineups. Mm-hmm. Talking about our starting 5 specifically, like those guys on the court. The fact that their defense rating is 8th is very encouraging. And that goes back to my point. Offensively, we know the starting lineup's elite. If they're a top 10 defense as well, then that's even more frustrating that the bench is holding our defense back. Because what's been the conversation for so long is you can't have a good defense with a small backcourt. Now it's Dame and Ant are going to be the same as Dame and CJ. But I actually think Dame and Ant, they haven't been necessarily good, but I don't think they've necessarily been bad either. Like, both of those guys have had some good defensive moments, both of them have been bad ones. But they've just been inconsistent, but they've been okay, which, given what they give you offensively, they're 2 of the top 5 3-point shooters in the league, in my opinion, and can attack off the dribble. You'll take okay defense from those guys. So the fact that our starting lineup has a defensive rating of 111 is very impressive, and it's a positive because the bench we can fix. GP2 coming off the bench will only help with our defense, but it also shows you that guys off the bench aren't getting it done, and I think it's Justise, it's Drew Eubanks, it's obviously Shaedon Sharpe, but you kind of expect that given who he is and his situation coming into the league. But that's really the one thing that I could see holding this team back from contention is the bench lineup on both sides of the floor.
Yeah, and imagine how better it would be if Dame and Ant weren't our rim protectors on a lot of plays either.
Yeah.
Having to guard bigs. So I still think there's room for improvement with that starting lineup as well.
Here's an interesting one, Eric. Defensive rating with our starting lineup with Eubanks instead of Nurk is 116 compared to 111 with Nurkic. Now, defensive rating for individuals is always noisy because it's so dependent upon who else is on the floor with you. But if you look at it in isolation, where you're talking about Eubanks with the same 4 guys versus Nurkic with the same 4 guys, it's less noisy. Now, would be interesting to see if that continues or the difference even expands on a larger sample size, but you've seen Eubanks play some with this starting 4. I'd just be interested to see how many minutes that's over, because obviously if that's like less than 100 minutes of play, then that's a small sample size. It's not a big enough sample size to come to conclusions on, but it is interesting to look at.
Yeah, and our offensive rating too is up to 7th now, so we're quickly flying up the offensive ratings.
And that's missing Dame half the season, or I guess a little less than half the season,
No,
but
it is.
a part of that he was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, this team analytically is built to reach contention. They just need to fix the bench, in my opinion. And that could be Eubanks, because here's the problem, Eric. If Eubanks keeps auto-switching, we've talked about this, if he keeps being switch-happy, and you had a whole breakdown on this where, like, Eubanks is just automatically switching on pick and rolls no matter what a lot of times, and maybe that's Chauncey telling him to do so, maybe that's just Eubanks, but Nurk doesn't just automatically switch. Sometimes he has to, but Eubanks loves to switch out onto guards. In the playoffs, teams will hunt him when he's in the game and force him to switch onto guards, and then you're just going to deal with the series if we keep up at this rate where, oh, wow, we're giving up 130 points per game because when Jokic is out of the game and Nurkic is out of the game, the Denver Nuggets are playing Jamal Murray with the bench lineup. They're staggering him like we stagger Ant, and all they're doing is running a pick and roll. Eubanks is switching on to Murray, and then he's just killing him in isolation. That's what will happen in the playoffs if Eubanks keeps defending the pick and roll the way he does. Like, I am seriously worried about Eubanks' pick and roll defense if he has to play in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. It says Rai thinks 67 minutes with Eubanks, so not a huge sample size. 242 minutes with the starting lineup.
Yeah, but that's where you watch the 2 guys. That's eye test is always best for defense. If you know what to look for, if you know how to notice smaller things, more nuanced stuff. Because a lot of people just notice blocks and steals, and that's about it. So, yeah, I don't get all the Eubanks love. Nurkic, I think, has gotten better
fine.
Defensively this year. He's been fine, but I don't get the love.
Yeah.
People act like he's an elite defensive player. So.
Yep.
So, go ahead.
Well, real quick, I just want to say to Max, Monday's show, we talked all about specific trade targets, including Cam Reddish. We talked about him for like 10, 15 minutes. So, I don't mean to push you off or ignore your question, but I mean, we're not just going to keep saying the same thing every stream about people. So, but we had a really good conversation about Cam Reddish in particular on Monday's show.
Yep, and we had a good conversation last night on the post-game show, the second half of it as well. So, yeah, we're just going to point you guys to other pieces of content so we're not having the same conversation over and over and over again. Because I know all of you guys can't watch every stream or maybe don't want to watch every stream, and I get that. So we'll try and direct you to streams where we talk about what you guys are asking us, just so we're not having the same conversation for those who have watched those segments already. I think that's probably the best way to go about it.
And then Truly Spencer PDX says, according to 620, which is the Blazers, the channel here in Portland that broadcasts the games and stuff, people around the organization are quietly frustrated with Gary Payton. He seems to be healthy, but not mentally.
What's your read on that? Because you've seemed to be pretty in touch with this whole GP2 situation.
Everything I've heard is, yeah, it's frustrating for all parties involved, and no one's happy that he's missing games and still isn't ready to play, including Peyton. So I don't think it's a case where they're mad at him specifically. I think they're just frustrated that it's not getting better, and everyone's frustrated. Which, like, so Gary Payton deserves to be frustrated. The organization deserves to be frustrated that it's not 100% yet or whatever. Um, and yeah, a lot of that could be mental. But like we talked about before, these core injuries are so unknown. There isn't a lot of data other than a couple of teammates recently of like tons of others that have had the same surgery, and when they are back and when they have complications, what does it look like? When you do have pain or soreness, do you push through that kind of thing? There just isn't a lot of data on that yet. Like if someone blew out their ACL, there's like hundreds of examples and different scenarios that teams either did correctly or incorrectly, and it's led to now, you have an ACL surgery and it's not really even that big of a deal anymore in a lot of cases. But like with the core surgery, it's just they just don't know a lot in terms of getting back to competition. So yeah, there's frustration with all parties involved, but I don't think it's a case where Gary Payton's like refusing to play like Kawhi Leonard a couple years ago or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Beer says, "Wow, Ben Simmons 2.0. I hope not." Man, Gary Payton II is not Ben Simmons, man. Come on. Yeah, no, I don't blame him if he's still experiencing soreness and wants to see if it goes away. Obviously, like, if it wasn't sore at all, he'd be playing. I highly doubt GP2 doesn't want to play basketball. I mean, look how hard this dude grinded just to get on NBA teams. Like, he was willing to be basically a film intern for the Warriors just to try and earn a spot on the team. Like, this dude has worked his ass off in order to be an NBA caliber player. So now he finally has a guaranteed role and contract, and all of a sudden he just doesn't want to play for the hell of it? No, no, not at all. He's not like Ben Simmons, who was the number one prospect in high school, who basically, was put on a pedestal from a young age in high school and just has all this natural talent and has skated by off that just because he's 6'10 and athletic and can dribble. GP2, yeah, he's Gary Payton's son, but he was undrafted. He had to earn his spot in the league by doing the tough stuff, man, and playing his ass off. I highly doubt this dude is using this injury as an excuse to just kind of sit out and collect a paycheck. I think it's just something where, as you've said, Eric, he's waiting to hopefully see if the soreness will subside, and at some point he's just going to say screw it. But mentally, he dealt with that injury all year last season, so he probably doesn't want to go back through that. And if I was him, I'd be worried about, if I play and it's sore, it could get back to where it was last year, and then these 5 months of rehab are meaningless. You know what I mean? Like that. Mentally, how do you not worry about that? And when you are the type of player who has to be mentally sharp, because a lot of his good defense comes from reading things extremely quickly and just being an extremely smart defensive player, and he flies around physically, like throws his body into people offensively, defensively, like does all this stuff. It's hard to go out there and not feel healthy and do that. He did that last year. I'm sure he doesn't want to do that again.
Yeah, and the other thing is, too, I mean, when someone gets that surgery after pushing it off for so long, they expect it to be better. So if he's feeling like it's like, wait a minute, I got this surgery, it's been several months, and it's still kind of bothering me. I mean, it's possible that the surgery wasn't performed correctly, or it just didn't work in this case, or whatever. But I think that's the key difference, though, is I don't think he has the attitude like, I'm just not going to play until it gets better. Like I've said many times, I think there's going to be a point by the end of December where they're just like, you know what, let's just play and see if it can If it gets worse, then maybe we'll look at something else. But I mean, as long as it's just soreness after playing and it's not really bothering you that much, except for afterwards, they might just play through it the rest of the season. And in terms of the organization, I mean, I said this last time we talked about it. I think they'd much rather make sure he's healthier for later in the season into the playoffs than right now in December.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a long-term play, and the Blazers are good enough to deal with his absence. He would help a lot, but this team is 16-12 against a tough schedule without Dame half the season and without Gary Payton II. So, not really worried about that. Obviously, it'd help us win more games, and if he was healthy all season, maybe the Blazers could truly push for that 1 seed. Shoot, they could still push for that 1 seed. So, I get why it's frustrating. It's frustrating as a fan, but the frustration isn't in him. The frustration is with the situation. If people in the organization are frustrated with him, then they should keep that quiet. Like, because that's what the quote was that Spencer shared. Said 620 said that people in the organization were quietly frustrated about it. But Spencer, did 620, I assume it was Dwight and Chad, did they say that the frustration was in him or the frustration was in the situation? Did they specify? Because I understand the frustration being in the situation. I don't agree with having any sort of frustration with him.
The other thing, too, is I guess what would come into play here, too, is did they know about him needing this surgery or that he was likely going to need it when they signed him? Did they discover that in the physical they did? Or did they even do a physical? So that would be the only way I think that maybe there was some frustration with him, is if he hid that and it didn't show up on a physical. And then all of a sudden after he signed the contract, he was like, oh, sorry, had surgery. But to me, I don't know. I don't think they would have handled it the way they did if they got duped by then trying to dupe us too. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So, because they didn't say anything about it for almost 2 months. So I think they would have handled it differently had they been tricked versus, the way it played out.
Yeah.
He says they speculated it was with him specifically. So,
I mean, I don't trust everything that I hear from radio. All right, I'll just say that. I'll trust you, Eric, as much as anything I hear from the outside. And that's because I think you've proven yourself, especially with the whole Jeremy Grant trade guarantee you had 2 months before it happened, and all the detail you had on it that ended up being true. So, I don't know. Sure, there's probably somebody, like a couple people in the organization that are frustrated with him. But I mean, that's probably just a couple of people. You know what I mean? That's probably nothing to read into.
Well, I mean, let's face it, too. Dwight Jane's source in the past has been Neil Olshey, and he still has a vendetta against the organization. So, yeah.
Yeah, remember all the Dame hate he had in the previous months?
Mm-hmm.
About how he couldn't play a different way. Stuff like that. Would Dame want to play off the ball? I remember him saying something along those lines before. Well, the answer is yes, because Dame's having the most efficient season of his career, scoring at the highest rate of his career, offensively having the best year of his career so far, and that's through playing with some injury. So, and that's playing off the ball, and that's playing more within the flow of things. So Dame has said that him playing that way is what's going to lead to the most success for the team. So, yeah, I don't want to, get too over the top with calling anyone out media-wise, but take what Dwight Jane says with a grain of salt. Some of it might be true, some of it might be false, but nobody can tell, and nobody knows where it's coming from. So that's my only thought on that. He was right about the whole broadcasters not going on the road thing. So not saying that he doesn't have stuff that's credible, but I wouldn't believe anything he says. Just you don't believe anything you hear off the bat without thinking about it, or I don't know, coming to us, I guess, because I feel like we can see through some of it.
Well, and like I said, it's very easy to hear that there's frustration involved, and then to just interpret that as the organization is frustrated with him for not just playing, like just get out there and play, right? But yeah, like I said, frustration can mean everyone's frustrated. Like they're frustrated, that he's not playing, but like, I mean, it doesn't mean that they're like, I don't know, regretting signing him, or like getting to the point where they're mad that he's not willing to go out there or whatever.
Yep. Spencer says that's why I brought it up with you guys. Wanted to see what you thought. Well done, Spencer. Well done. Anyway, let's jump into picks against the spread in a second. But first, we got a promo. Our watch party on January 2nd. We're hosting an in-person watch party in Northeast Portland. Doors open at 6 p.m. The Blazers play at 7 p.m. We will have a stream for that, and then we'll do our post-game stream from the venue is currently the plan. So if you want to attend that, watch a Blazer game with us, and then watch a post-game show in person, provide a question live. I don't know exactly how we're going to format it yet, but if you want in on this, check out the link in the description box below, and you can buy tickets. If you're a channel member on the main channel, check out the community tab, as I have discount codes for you guys in there. But if not, it's $10 for one ticket or $17 for two. So definitely check out that link in the description box below. I'd love to meet some of you guys in person, get to know more of the community, because this is truly a special community, and it would be cool to be able to meet some of you. So I will also post the link in the live chat. That is January 2nd at Alberta Abbey in Northeast Portland. Anyway, Eric, it's time for Picks Against the Spread, brought to you by Bet Online. All the spreads in this segment are from Bet Online, so if you want to get in on any of the action, use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, to receive 50% rewards. Bet Online, where the game starts, parlays, live betting, all sorts of fun stuff. It's interesting to look at. And we got 4 games to pick from today, 4 NBA games. Here are the standings. Eric, you were phenomenal on Monday.
Let's go.
No, let's not go. You're running away with first play. You're 4 games up on Jackson, but you're almost 10 games up on everybody else. Connor's in third. Me and Chat were tied, just like we finished last year. I had a good day. A lot of people had a good day, actually. Trying to climb back to 500.
Yep. As David C says, Chat and Tori always tight. You guys tied last year. You're tied this year.
Yeah, stop copying me, Chat. Anyway, 10 games back. We did a lot better last year, Chat. We got to pick it up. If you see the W/W or W/L, that's because 4 people had to do 2 double downs on Monday, because the previous episode there was a push on half of the double downs, so they didn't count. So that's why you see W/W for Eric. Both his double down picks ended up turning out well. While everybody else that had to do 2 had a win and a loss. Zach down there at the bottom, but only 17 games back. Still more than enough time to make up some ground. Aeromancer's been doing better after his struggle of a start, and Connor's kind of been in third for a while, but it's been Eric and Jackson in the top 2 spots. We need to split those 2 up ASAP. Preferably send both of them to the bottom, in my opinion. But anyway, Eric, game number 1, we got Memphis hosting the Milwaukee Bucks, and Memphis is a 2.5-point home favorite.
So the Bucks are without Drew Holiday, Joe Ingles, and Serge Ibaka in this one. And the Grizzlies are without Desmond Bain, Danny Green, and Vince Williams Jr.
Alrighty. This is a tough one.
There's only 4 games, so we'll do a poll for Chat's Double Down.
Yep. Did you get picks from anyone?
Yeah, Aeromancer is on Bucks and Connor is on Grizzlies.
Okay, cool. Aeromancer is Connor's Grizzlies, Aeromancer's Bucks.
Trevin and myself are going with the Bucks as well.
Whoops, wrong person. There you go. Zach says Grizzlies.
Yep. And Jackson, of course, is Grizzlies.
This is really tough to pick from. I am not enjoying trying to pick this game at all. Drew would have been nice for Milwaukee to have against Jaw. Did Milwaukee play last night?
No.
I'm going to go Memphis. In chat is 91% Bucks out of 35 votes. Wow, I was not expecting to see that percentage, Eric. Oh my goodness.
It's one of the highest percentages of the year.
They always love themselves some Bucks, man. It's always primarily the Milwaukee Bucks. So, whoops, wrong logo. I am clicking the wrong things here. But we got a split vote in game number 1. Love to see it. Eric, Trevin, Aeromancer, chat, Bucks, everybody else, Grizzlies. This game tips off at 5 p.m., by the way. That's why we're doing picks against the spread to end the stream, because there's no 4 p.m. or 4:30 games. All right, game number 2. You got the Houston Rockets hosting the Miami Heat. Miami is 3.5-point road favorites.
The frickin' Heat have 12 players listed on their injury report. Out for this game are Bam Adebayo, Kyle Lowry, Victor Oladipo, Gabe Vincent, Dwayne Dedman, Omer Yurtseven. Nikola Jovic is still listed as questionable up to the minute. Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, Max Strus, and Duncan Robinson all listed as probable. And the Heat played last night. For the Rockets, they only have Jayshawn Tate listed as out.
I mean, wouldn't this... What? The hell? I like Houston. That's my pick. Houston.
Well, you can't bet on the Heat, right?
I can't bet on the Heat anyway, but yeah, I'm gonna take the Rockets.
Let's see if. Yeah, it's down to 3 on ESPN.
Yeah, it's 3 on Bet Online. It's 3.5 on the graphic. Normally, I don't change it for like half a point, especially if it would end up being a push.
Right.
So, shout out to Caleb Pendergraph. What's up, Caleb? With the $5 dono. Says, haven't been able to donate since I haven't been watching live recently, so I just wanted to donate to say thanks for all your work providing content. Thank you, Caleb, with the $5 dono. Appreciate you, man. Always thankful for your support. Over on the main channel, you can actually leave like thanks on videos or I think streams after they're not live. I just don't talk about that. I don't think anybody knows that exists, but you can leave like a super thanks, it's called. So nobody's ever done it. I'm not asking anyone to. It's just a feature, I guess, that YouTube has, so you know they can get a little bit more of a split of the money. But yeah, so thank you, Caleb, for the $5 dono.
Thanks, Caleb.
All right, so what do we got?
Connor, Eric, and Zach are Rockets.
What Aeromancer go with?
Aeromancer is Heat.
Oh, wow.
Trevin and Jackson also Rockets. So everyone but chat. I haven't seen the results.
Chat's Rockets.
Okay. and Aeromancers on an island.
Yep, good luck, Aeromancer. If he was here, he probably would have went Rockets if he heard the injury report, but that's on him. He got to check the injury report. But then again, knowing more, I don't know if that helps this year because everybody except Eric's below 500. Anyway, game number 3, we got Utah hosting the New Orleans Pelicans. New Orleans is a 1-point road favorite.
All right. For the Pelicans, they're without Brandon Ingram still, and Jose Alvarado is out for this one. The Jazz are without Colin Sexton and our guy, Simone Fontecchio.
I still don't know how good the Jazz are.
Yeah. Both Connor and Aeromancer are on the Pelicans in this one. I am going to go with the Pelicans as well. Zach is on the Pelicans. Jackson's on the Pelicans.
I'll take the Pelicans too. Boring. Me, you, Zach. Who else?
Trevin says Jazz.
Thanks for spicing it up, Trevin.
Everyone else except for chat so far.
I'm rooting for the Jazz. I want the Pelicans to lose, but
yeah.
Chat is also going with the Pels. Trevin Island. We got a split vote game 1, Aeromancer Island game 2, Trevin Island game 3, and now game number 4. You got the Los Angeles Clippers hosting the Phoenix Suns, and Phoenix are 6-point road favorites.
Yeah, what's interesting is the Clippers started out as favorites and were favorites this afternoon until they ruled out Paul George and Kawhi Leonard along with Reggie Jackson and Norm Powell. And then Luke Kennard and Ivica Zubac are both questionable still as well. For the Suns, they're without Cam Johnson, Cam Payne, Dwayne Washington Jr., and DeAndre Ayton has been ruled out too.
But Booker is back.
Booker looks like he is going to play tonight.
So who's playing for the Clippers then?
Well, they got
Reggie Jackson.
No, Reggie Jackson's out.
No, Reggie Jackson's out too. Jeez.
Yeah.
John Wall.
Jean Wall. Morris.
Marcus Morris. Nick Batum.
Batum.
Rocco.
Yeah. They still got several forwards, but
the Suns have played so bad lately, though.
Yeah.
Zach goes Clippers. Jackson goes Clippers. What's his first name again? The Preston kid? I forgot his first name.
The Jason?
Jason Preston? Yeah, I was thinking Caleb Preston for some reason. The Ohio. The guy from University of Ohio. Had that upset over Virginia, which I had my bracket that year. That was fun. I'm just proving to you guys that I know who he is, even though I forgot his name, because that's embarrassing that I would forget his name. Trevin goes Suns. Eric, what are you going with?
I'm going to go Suns.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the bleeping Suns, too.
You always pick the Suns, though.
Yeah, but, bro, I can't... You got who the Clippers are... Who are the Clippers played? We said John Wall and then struggled for another 20 seconds to name another player, so...
Andy, yes, it looks like he's playing.
If the Clippers were healthy, I would be doubling down on the Clippers with this spread. What'd Connor and Aeromancer go with?
Connor is Suns, Aeromancer Clippers.
And chat, it looks like, is the Phoenix Suns as well. Lots of interesting Western Conference games standings-wise. Okay, Aeromancer Jackson, Zach, Clippers, everybody else, Suns. Time for double downs. I'll do the chat poll. If you can read off the pick they have, the spread that team has, and who they're against.
They have the Rockets plus 3.5 against the Heat.
Road or home?
The Rockets are at home.
Okay. What was the next one?
They have the Bucks on the road getting 2.5 points against the Grizzlies.
Okay.
And then they have the Pelicans favored by a point on the road against the Jazz.
Okay.
And the Suns on the road favored by 6 points against the Clippers.
All right.
And I have 4 people's votes whenever you're ready.
All right, let's do it.
Connor and Aeromancer are both doubling down on the Pelicans.
Okay, give me what is... Okay, same thing. Okay, cool, that works. Yeah. Connor, Aeromancer.
Yeah, that's why I did it that way.
yeah, I was like, whoa. Please. Gotta do the red Pelicans logo today. Because they're playing the Jazz. I still have Krish as Aeromancer's name on this slide. In the folder section. I still do change it. All right, what else we got? Clippers for Zach, it looks like.
Yeah, Clippers for Zach.
Cool.
Grizzlies for Jackson. I'm still waiting on...
I'm going Rockets. Screw the Heat.
Trevin is going Rockets as well.
I feel like me and Trevin always double down on the same team.
So just waiting on... Is that ever?
Waiting on Eric and chat.
Yeah. All right.
What are you going?
Man, I finally get back up to 500, and now I'm not feeling any of these games tonight.
Oh no, you'll accidentally go 4-1 somehow.
Yeah. I want my double down to be right. You know what? I'm gonna go against Jackson. I'll make it fun. I'm gonna take the Bucks.
All right. Bucks, and then chat, it looks like, is going with the Pelicans, despite feeling the Bucks at like 90% of the vote. They're more confident in the Pelicans, who are the 3 votes on the right. Connor, Aeromancer, chat, all Pelicans. Me and Trevin, Rockets. Eric, you're going against Jackson. You got the Bucks. He has the Grizzlies. And then Zach, by his lonesome, going with the Clippers against the Phoenix Suns, despite the Clippers' best player tonight being Robert freaking Covington or John freaking Wall. Anyway, that concludes picks against the spread. Anything else for the stream, Eric?
Well, thanks everyone for watching, and we got back-to-back games Friday and Saturday night. Hope to catch you all on the post-game shows for those games, and hopefully the Blazers, that's the other news we hadn't talked about, that affects the Blazers is Maxi Kleber is now out 6 to 8 weeks, I think, at least.
Big loss.
With a knee injury and I think he also tore a hamstring or something. So he's going to be out a while. He's been one of their better defensive players. And of course, even when his shooting percentages aren't great, he's still someone you have to worry about as a shooter and have to get out on. So that'll help the Blazers. So hopefully they can contain Luka a little bit and not let any of their other shooters go off and beat the Mavericks tomorrow night, because that'd be a good win.
Yep. We'll have you covered with the post-game show after tomorrow night, after that Mavericks game. Hopefully we can catch you there. That would be a big win to get to 17-12. Really hoping the Blazers take care of business and figure out a way to slow down Luka at least just a little bit, because that's what you got to do against that Mavericks team. Once again, before we head off, check out our watch party tickets. The first 10 people to buy a ticket will be entered into a giveaway. There's still a couple of spots left for that giveaway, so, check out that link. Posted it in the live chat for a watch party on January 2nd in the Portland area. I know a lot of you watch like worldwide or across the country. I wish we could fly you out. Unfortunately, we don't have the resources for that. But if you're in the Portland area, definitely check that out. Anyway, we are out of here. I hope you have a good rest of your Thursday. We'll catch you after the Blazers hopefully beat the Mavericks tomorrow. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.